poet once said, "All sorrows are bearable, if there is bread." And I personally can agree with them. All too often when I'm sad, tired, or just plain bored, I find myself eating potato chips or other greasy foods that just weigh me down. And these foods are heavy in preservatives that really aren't good for me. That is until my father and I started making bread together. Bread doesn't take many ingredients, and when you make it at home, it's relatively preservative-free. So, eating bread has really helped me snack healthier, and I believe it can do the same for others. That's why today I'm going to teach you how you can make your own bread at home. So, when making bread, you have to remind yourself that there are 3 main steps, and you have to time these steps out. The first step is going to be the first proof, which includes making ingredients and letting the bread rise. The second proof is going to be making the actual shape of the loaf and letting that rise. And then the third step is going to be baking and cooling the bread. Now, something about making bread that many people don't take into account is the proving and how important it actually is. If you were going to make a cake and the recipe called for eggs, you wouldn't just completely leave out the eggs or not substitute the eggs. They are required for the actual recipe. So when making bread, you have to allow time to prove, or else you're just going to end up with a really flat, dense loaf, and it's not really going to form that bread you would buy at the store. So, in the first proof, you're going to want to make your liquid ingredients first. So, in a bowl, you're going to combine 1 cup of water and 1/2 cup of milk together, and then you're going to add into it honey. I personally add honey just because it's a healthier alternative to sugar, and sometimes it helps develop the yeast more. And then you'll add 2 tablespoons of butter, and you'll microwave that in a microwave oven. So the reason you'll want to do your liquid ingredients first is because once you've microwaved them in that oven, they get really hot, and if you add that really hot ingredient into the yeast, sometimes it doesn't develop correctly, and it can ruin your whole entire loaf. So make sure that you allow time for that to cool to about room temperature. So then you'll move on to your dry ingredients. You'll want to combine your flour, salt, and vital wheat gluten into a bowl. And most people don't know what vital wheat gluten is. It's not required, but it helps you develop your yeast so it rises again, because really, again, proving and having your loaf rise is what makes the bread good. So then you'll add in your instant yeast, and you'll want to make sure that you whisk those dry ingredients. You don't want to just leave them there in clumps, or else you'll get a weird distribution of them into the actual overall bread. So then you're going to mix those together. You'll notice that it's really sticky at first, and that's okay. Eventually it'll start forming a ball on its own. Then you'll want to put it on a floured surface, and you'll knead. Kneading is really important because that really helps you get the air bubbles mixed in. If you have gigantic pockets of air, you'll end up getting really dense pieces of bread, and then you'll have nothing in some spots in your loaf. So you have to knead that, and it's basically just a series of folding in your bread, and you can look up tutorials online. People do it differently everywhere, but really just folding it down consistently will help you. So you'll need that, and then you'll want to proof it in a warm, moist place. What I do to accomplish this is just get a pie tin, and you can fill it with a little bit of water and put it on a really low heat in the oven. Sometimes I heat the oven beforehand and then turn it off. You'll want it to be about 90 to 100 degrees. So in the second proof, it's going to, you'll begin with what your bread looks like after the first proof when it's risen. So you can see it's doubled considerably. So then you'll put that onto, again, a floured surface, and you'll knead it to get all the air bubbles worked in. And it's important that when you're kneading, you don't add too much flour. You might feel the need to, but you don't want your bread to taste like straight flour when you knead it, so that's important. So you'll roll out to your dough to fit about a 5x9 tin, and so you'll get it at the width and length, but then you're going to roll it, and make sure that when you do roll the dough, your seam is at the bottom when you pinch it together. So, because if your seam is at the top, when the roll finally does come together, it'll just open and you won't really have that shape that you wanted. So you're going to do that, and then you'll put it in your pan. You can grease it with coconut oil. That's what we prefer to do, so it's healthier. And you'll put that in, and then it's going to proof again. You don't bake just yet. You do it the same procedure as you did the last time, about 30 to 45 minutes or until it's doubled. So, this is what it's going to look like once it's doubled in the oven. And you're going to go ahead and heat your oven up to 350 now. You want to keep that water bath in the bottom because it helps the crust on the outside get crispy, but the inside stay moist. So, after that, you're going to cook it until it's about a light to golden brown, or for about 30 minutes. You're going to allow that a short time to cool in the oven. You don't want to just open the oven and take it out because that can make the bread actually collapse within itself and you won't get as even of a bake. So you'll let that cool in the oven, then you'll take it out and preferably put it on some sort of cooling rack. You won't keep it in the tin for that long, maybe 2 minutes at the most. Then you'll take that out, and if you've greased your pan correctly, it should fall right out of the tin. And then you'll want to let that cool for at least 20 minutes. It's really important you let it cool before you cut it, because if you just cut right into it, it'll be really moist still and you'll get weird texture. Alright, so that's basically all you have to do, and then you can enjoy your bread at home. So, the next time that sorrows knock at your door, you'll be prepared. Thank you.